I'm in Brooklyn, and I'm at my cousin Lena's house. She lives on 26th Street in Brooklyn, near Avenue U. And I'm going to go in and talk to her about the family and all of the stuff. Hi, Lena.
Hi. Hi, my darling Lisa.
Okay, we're going to set up for the interview here. Okay. All right. So,
Not close enough.
yes, I am. It's fine. It's
You
work.
could see you?
Yeah.
So far away. I want you close.
Okay. Well, let's talk about, okay, first I want you to tell me your name. Where you were born.
I have lots of names. I was born Grace Robato, and want me to say my age?
Well, your date of birth.
June 24th, 1930. I was born Grace, but 10 days later my mother passed away, and her name was Angelina. So they changed it from Grace to Angelina. But they didn't change it because they left it on my birth certificate, Grace. When I went to Mexico, on my birth certificate says Grace. So then the family called me Lena, and my friends called me Lee or Ann. My husband married Ann, so I have every kind of name you could think of. And I married very young, 1 month 17. I was 17 June 24th, and I was married July 19th, 1947.
How old were you?
17.
17.
July 19th, I was 17, 1 month.
And, well, let's start. So where were you born?
I was born in New York City, Manhattan. Somewhere like First Avenue or something, Lexington Avenue. I really don't know the address, because from there we moved to the Bronx as an infant, and I was raised by my father's mother, Grace Robato.
Grandma Grace.
Grandma Grace.
Okay, let's do
Everybody's
show a picture
grandma.
of Grandma Grace right now.
This is Grandma Grace.
You got it? Okay, great. Yeah, I'm going to put it up closer. You can kind of see it. It's Grandma Grace with the little...
Grandma Grace Robato, 4'11", and a bundle of energy.
4'11"?
And a bundle of energy.
Okay, so you were born in Manhattan, and right away your father
Remarried.
But so your grandmother took you as an infant,
Right.
to raise you. What was your father's name?
Anthony.
Roberta.
And my mother's name was, I said, Angelina.
But you don't know her maiden name?
Zeno.
Zeno.
Zeno. I don't know if it's Z-I-N-O or Z-I-N-N-O, something to that effect. But I know no one on my mother's side.
Okay.
I never had the privilege of meeting anyone.
So
And,
you moved to the Bronx?
we moved as an infant. We lived in several places in the Bronx. But then when I was 11, I moved to Brooklyn. So I've been here most of my life.
When did you live in Cambridge?
When I was 2 years old. From about 1 to 2. Because I was a little girl.
So you have no memory of that time?
No.
Of being a child?
But I went every summer. I went every
Through your-
summer of my life until I got married and stayed there 2 years.
And would you stay the whole summer or just a few weeks?
The whole summer, yes. Most time Grandma was there with us. When I was an infant, when I was 1 or 2 years old, we were there with Grandpa and with Nicky, Uncle Nicky, who's the only surviving sibling of your great-grandmother. He's the only one left. And he's like, Rose and him were born at the same time. Rose was born in December and he was born in May. So he's a few months younger than Rose. But they were pregnant together. Grandma Grace was pregnant twice with her children. Yeah, she was pregnant with Aunt Jenny, and she was pregnant when she she had Nikki with Rose, and she had, oh gee, it just skips my mind now who she had. I know she had two, twice. Oh, Uncle Sal, she was pregnant with her mother. Uncle Sal and my father were the same age. Isn't that funny? She was pregnant with her daughter and her mother.
Oh, okay, I see. So, she was, when Uncle Sal was born, she had Jenny. Or who did she have?
She
Were they
had,
the same age?
I think it was my father. No,
Oh.
Aunt Jenny was
Older.
older. So, and that was it.
So, now, did you see your father?
Occasionally, because he remarried 6 months after I was born, and he proceeded to have 2 boys and a girl, and he had his life, and then he divorced her and married again, and divorced her and married again. He had 4 wives.
Wow. And do you have any relationship with your brothers and sisters?
My brother Sal died at 52. My brother Nick is in Texas. And my sister's in Florida. And my sister is your grandmother's godchild.
Oh.
She was her godmother. Marion, her name is.
Did your father come to Cambridge sometime?
Yes, several times. He came even with Dorothy.
One of his wives?
Yeah, the last one. Yeah, the one that he passed away.
So what is you were too little to remember Cambridge when you first came there. What was your first memory of Cambridge?
Oh, my first memory must have been like 8 years old. I remember Uncle Tony chasing me all the time. And Grandma Rose, your grandma, took very good care of me. She trained me, actually. When I was a baby, she trained me, potty trained me.
Really?
Yeah. And then when I was left there for the summer with Rose, took me everywhere. She drove, from when she was very young, and she took me to the beach, and I was like her little girl, and then her little girls became my little girls. So funny. When I got married and I moved up there.
What was it like for you to go, being like a city kid, like to go to the country? What was
I was a kind of isolated kid, so I was really never a city kid.
No.
No, I was very isolated because I was like an only child after, Grandma had, all her children were married. And so I was very overprotected, I would say.
Yeah.
And when Grandma went to work in Brooklyn, I went to school by myself. I was like a latchkey kid, really. So I was always in the house. And somehow or other, I met friends and got involved with my husband when he came home from the Marines. I was only 15.
How old was he?
21.
And you fell in love?
At first sight.
Really?
And that's what he said too. I don't know how true it was. And this is him.
Oh yeah.
Yes, my darling boy. He was in the Marines when he came home.
Yeah, that's cute. That's cute.
And we were married for 35 years and had 4 children. 2 boys and 2 girls.
That's nice.
And
And then what was his name?
James Manza. So I have, my oldest is James Manza, and then came Geraldine Manza, Kathleen Manza, and Michael Manza. It's my children. They're all married.
And so when you got married when you were 17, and you moved to Cambridge?
Yes, for the first 2 years of my married life, I lived in Cambridge.
And you lived near the family farm across the
I
street?
lived right where Grandma and Jenny and John lived. We lived across the street in the house where your grandma lived, and Aunt Muriel and Uncle Tony. We lived upstairs and they lived underneath us, and I was always in their house. Always.
What was it like? What did you guys do? Because there was lots of you all living there together, all young couples, just starting out, just having children. Did you do dinners together and stuff like that?
Lots of the time I ate with your grandmother. Most of the time I was upstairs cooking for my husband when he came home from work. He had very long hours because they were doing a lot of things for Uncle John, a lot of slaughtering and there was a lot of things going on. And I took care of Jeannie and Linda. I loved to babysit them when Rose had her little chores to do or her errands to run. I would take care of the babies.
Did my
But
great...
she took me all over.
She did.
Oh, yeah.
Did my great-grandmother, Jenny, did she cook? Uncle Tony told really funny stories about how she would just go out into the woods and like bring food
pick
back.
everything. She'd pick everything in the garden and come home and cook it. You know, vegetables and everything. And Grandma Grace, too, was there, you know, helping out and cooking.
What kind of food do you remember your Grandma Grace cooking, which would be?
Well, great big pots of soup, great big pots of gravy,
like
woodchucks,
marinara gravy?
woodchucks, rabbits.
Oh, really?
Oh, your Uncle Tony used to shoot them, pheasants. We ate a lot of wild stuff up there. It was fun.
What sort of Italian, like old kind of world food? What was like the specialty? Like, did you learn to cook? Did they teach you to cook? Did you learn through them?
Grandma always lived with me, so I guess I learned from her. In fact, even my husband learned from her. He used to do all the cooking.
Oh, really?
Oh, he loved to cook on Sunday when she passed away.
Oh, really? And he would make the sauce? And
he would make everything like I told you, the eggplant like I made for you today, and the sauce. It was very good. Oh, they loved it.
What's your sauce recipe?
You want my recipe?
Well, just quickly, what do you do?
It's the usual.
Everyone has a little different one.
No.
Everyone in the family has different.
No, I don't think so. I think it's the usual thing.
What do you do? Well,
the
tell me.
garlic, you know, you mince the garlic and the tomato in a little olive oil, and then you add, some people like to add onion, sometimes I do. And you have the tomatoes. I don't use puree, I use tomatoes. And you add the spices, a little oregano, a little salt and pepper, and you let it cook, simmer for about an hour and a half. And if you like your meatballs, you know, you put them in, or sausage.
Do you put them in after?
Simple.
Or do you ever...
Well, if I'm going to put meat, I saute that first, too. And then I add the tomatoes.
Okay. Yeah, but I'm getting everyone's little recipe on this.
It's not very much different than everybody else's.
Oh, I think...
Aunt Jean makes delicious sauce.
Yeah.
My grandson, Michael, when he was up there, he says, till today, he says, I never had such delicious sauce as I had up in the country. It's cute. You should tell her that.
Oh, yeah, I will. Because I still have to interview her. Okay, so so Cambridge, now another question I have about Cambridge is, so it sounds like you were all sort of a little bit like isolated there. You had your own kind of clan. I mean, everyone, you were all there, so did you interact with the community at all?
Not too much. No, we really didn't have a lot of friends. We had each other. It was Muriel, me, and your mother.
Did you go to church?
Actually, not as much as I would have liked to. Only on special, on special days. Now I go to church every day, but I mean, up there, I didn't drive. I still don't drive. That's my...
You've never had a driver's license?
Yes, I have a driver's license for 40 years. I just don't drive. It's just one of my shortcomings.
No. Well, you live in a city. You don't need to drive, really, yeah.
That's true, but if I had the license, maybe I would move by my daughters. Over there, you need a car.
Yeah. So there's not a whole lot of interaction.
We had a
with
few friends. Rose always had friends. She still has a few occasional friends, but not that many that I remember.
What about the story goes, Uncle Tony and Nanny tell the story of when their first experience of coming to Cambridge was they went to pick up Uncle Pete because he was working on a farm up there.
No, who's
The
Uncle
pers-
Pete?
I can't remember. Uncle Petey was somebody's brother, obviously. I mean, either Grandma or Grandpa's brother.
No,
There's no Pete?
no.
Cousin Petey.
Cousin Pete.
Cousin Petey,
yeah.
that's it.
There's a cousin Pete. That was Aunt Sophie's son.
Okay.
Yeah, he lives in Florida.
Is he still alive?
Oh yeah. Well, I hope so. I don't know. I didn't hear anything. But he has a wife named Ada, and they had 2 sons. And see, I was very close to the people in Brooklyn, Grandpa's sisters and brothers, because I lived in Brooklyn, and I was very close up there because, we were close to everybody up there. So I'm really. And Rosie used to say, "Yo, you love everybody. Everybody loves you, and you love everybody." She was very intimidated by that. She wanted me only to love her and her children.
Well, I'm glad you did because you kept us kind of connected.
Yes, that's what I like, the connection. In fact, Petey's sister, who's my maid of honor, is in Florida, and they are not connected. I'm the one that still calls them and still, like now, it's her birthday, November 15th.
What's their name?
Her name is Connie Lala. Yeah, did he say Pete Lala?
Yeah, that's right.
the name.
Well, I guess he was there on the Cristaldi's farm. You
Oh,
remember the
that's now that you mentioned them, I have a picture of a Cristaldi wedding that I went to when I was little.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I have a picture of Frances Cristaldi and her husband.
In Cambridge?
Yeah, and I think they still live there.
There's some of their.
They live on the next farm over.
Yeah, I think they sold it, but yeah, they always did live there. And then and then there were Scaglione.
Yes,
Remember them?
yes, they weren't too friendly.
Okay.
They were on that farm too, the next farm over.
Yeah.
They were on this side, and the Cristaldi were on that side. And there was a Mario Cristaldi
Yeah.
who used to sing and play the guitar. I remember.
And so it's interesting, like
And Josie Cristaldi, remember?
Oh yeah,
Josie
I remember
Cristaldi?
Josie. And
She had
Mary.
4 sons.
Oh, yeah.
She had 4 sons, Josie. That's who we went to see. When we did go visit Rose and I, that's where we went. She lived right on the corner as you're coming into the dirt road.
Yeah, my mother used to be friends with. We would go there when I was little.
Yeah, she was a sweet lady. She passed away?
Yeah.
Hmm.
They both did.
Oh.
And her husband. But what's interesting is that road was all Italians.
Yeah, that is interesting. Except for the next farm then, the one in back of us.
Yeah. Yeah, they weren't. But then beyond that, there was a DeMarco, another
That I
Italian
didn't
family.
remember.
Yeah, so it's kind of neat that it's sort of like everyone sort of ended
That
up.
was like a little Italian area.
neighborhood,
Yeah.
community. So, well, what were you saying about the kind of being? Oh, you, the connector. It seems like because we all ended up being, raised in the country, and everyone lived up there, and we're very disconnected from
A lot of relatives.
the rest of the relatives, a lot of the relatives.
Right. You have cousins all over the place.
Yeah.
All these are your cousins, second, third, and so
Yeah.
on. But there's Elisa that you don't know, whose 2 sisters now have cancer. Kim and Patty Ann, and they're Grace's sister's children. Grace that you know.
How is Grace related to us?
Her father was Grandma Jenny's brother, Joseph.
Oh, okay.
There was 4 brothers: Joseph, Anthony, Vito, and Nicholas. The youngest one is Nicholas. He's the only one alive. And she had 2 daughters. 3 children died on Grandma Grace. 3 infants.
And then you.
I was
part
the
of that.
grandchild. But I was like her
Adopted.
child, and they treated me as their little sister. They did, especially Nikki.
And what about, I remember coming to visit you when I was younger,
Yeah.
and then we went and visited
Pictures.
Aunt Anna.
Really?
Yeah. While we were here.
Little Aunt Anna, they're all gone.
Yeah. Where did she live?
Well, she lived in the other part of Brooklyn here, but she moved with her son to Florida, and she didn't live there too long because she was in her late 80s. We have very good genetics on that side. They all died very old. Grandpa John was in his 90s, and the rest were all in their late 80s. The women. His younger brothers, no. His younger brothers, one got hit by a train in Ohio. Two died of cancer in their 40s. They died young. And Grandpa John's brothers. Did they tell you about that? Did they have any recollection of that? Tony?
No, they didn't talk about that.
Yeah. He had another brother, Anthony, Joseph. That's why they're all named after this. You know, they all have the same names.
Yeah, everyone has the same.
Salvatore.
Rose.
Yeah, well, Grandma Rose was the matriarch.
Right.
She was, I had a very lovely picture to show you of that entire family, and you would have seen how beautiful Grandma Grace was. She was the prettiest, I have to say, because she was my mother, she was the prettiest.
Yeah.
She was so pretty. When I find it, I'm going to have one made and send it to you.
Actually, we can look at this, whose family is this?
This is Grandma Grace's family. This is hard to see, but that's her family. This is Grandma Grace. This is my father. This is Uncle Joe. This is Aunt Jenny, your great-grandmother. This is Grandpa Nicholas, and this is Uncle Vito. Nicholas is not here because she was the youngest at that time. And then she had two more that died. Roy, one was named Roy. I like
Roy.
that name.
Okay,
Like
let's
Rogers.
go. So that's okay. Let's go over this real quick. I'm trying to get this in here. It's hard to.
That's Grandma Grace's family,
Let me see
her
something.
immediate family.
Okay, so that's Grandma Grace.
The big-
Who is she holding?
The big girl, she's holding Rose.
Rose. And then
Big girl is Jenny, Grandma Jenny.
my grandma.
And then there's
Vito is in the arms of
in
his
the arms of
father.
his father.
And then the
And
boys.
the boys are Anthony, my father, and Joseph.
And
Joseph was the oldest.
Okay.
Next to the oldest. Jenny was the oldest.
Okay. That's cool. Such a neat picture. What year do you think that was about?
Well, I'm trying to figure out how Aunt Rosie was a little infant there, about a few months old, so how, I don't remember what year would she have been born, maybe 1915 or something.
Oh.
She died when she was 76, which was 10 years ago. She would have been 86. Around that time, I don't know. I need a pencil and paper to figure things out. But it was a long time ago.
I love this picture. This is, so tell us about, this is Grandma Grace.
That's the one with the dog?
No, this is the one in front of the house in Cambridge, I
Oh,
think.
that's Grandma and Grandpa.
So
Grandpa
that's-
Nicholas and Grandma Grace. When I was a little baby, so that was 70 years ago.
Wow. And that's in Cambridge.
Yeah, that's in the house in Cambridge. 70 years ago, I was a little baby.
And this is your father's wedding. What wedding is this, to your mother?
Yeah, that's the only one he really had a wedding with. And in there is several relatives too.
Yeah, Grandma. My grandmother.
Grandpa's, yeah.
Oh, is that Uncle Tony?
That's your grandpa, that's Uncle Tony. His wife, here, where is she? Here, is Grandma Grace's sister. This is Aunt Rose. This is Uncle Vito, the one with the baby pictures
Oh.
there. And this is Uncle Sal, Grandpa John's. This is brother and sister here. These I don't know. One of these are my aunts, my mother's sister. I think this one. I'm not even sure because, unfortunately, before Grandma Grace passed away, I didn't get enough information. She told me many, many stories, but I'm getting old too now. I don't remember them. Did you take my wedding picture?
Where's that? Oh, I gotta show that. That's great. Okay.
Take the fat old thing that I am now and then look at that nice.
Okay. Now your husband looked like a movie star.
Yeah. Oh, my husband, not me.
Well, you do too, but I mean, he really.
He's handsome.
He was. And he was in the Army or Marines?
Marines. He was in the Japanese arena.
It's a beautiful picture. He was in Japan?
Yeah.
The Pacific.
The Pacific arena, right.
And how long was he in? Was that for World War II?
Yes.
Before, so you were
Came
married
out
after
in
World War
45. Yes, I was married in 47. He came out in 45. He went in 41, I think, or 2. 41. A long time ago. So, any more questions? Wait, can you shut this thing off?
Oh, you getting? I'm into. What else? Anything? Can you think of any other stories? Any Cambridge-oriented tales of things that happened there? Or?
You know, the things that are significant to me is when my son was born in Mary McClellan Hospital. He was born prematurely, and your grandmother rushed me to the hospital. And he was only 3 pounds and some ounces. And Grandma Grace walked all the way up that hill to see me.
She walked?
She walked it from town. She was all scratched, her arm. I'll never forget that.
She walked through the woods?
Because she was afraid of the road. So she walked through the woods up the hill. And you know how Mary McClellan Hospital is, don't you? And some reason or other, so there was no one available. I told you, she was a feisty little old lady. Everybody should have a little bit of her. And your Grandma Rose is just like her.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, she's feisty like her. And, what else again? Many incidences of good times with your father, grandfather, Marcel. And I had very pleasant memories. I have to say, they were all to me very pleasant, even though, sometimes naturally things happen. But for the most part, from when I was a little baby, I loved Cambridge. I never mind going up there.
Yeah.
And my husband used to take me. We used to start out 5 o'clock in the morning, and we used to spend the whole weekend there. And your grandmother used to say, "Oh, no wonder it's snowing," because we used to go up any time, when we could. The kids were out of the house. No, they were out of the house then.
Oh,
I'm talking about recently.
Oh, really?
Recently, 20 years ago already.
And you still come up. You've been up a few times.
I would have come up now if I could have.
This fall is pretty then. Autumn.
Now it's too late. I was going to come for Jeannie's birthday, and she went to
you
New
hurt
Mexico.
yourself too.
What?
You hurt your
Oh
leg.
yeah, that time I was ailing.
And no more food stories?
Ooh, just look at me and you know all the food stories.
What about the cookies?
Grandma's cookies.
There's 2 types.
Grandma Grace, unfortunately, my daughter Jerry was in the bridal party, and Aunt Rose was going to be driven up with my daughter, 2 daughters, and we were all going. Grandma Grace was making a dress. Unfortunately, on Grandpa John's birthday, September the 14th, she got a stroke. She had a stroke. And so it was the wedding was right then. And so my kids had to go with Aunt Rosie alone, and my husband. I had to stay home with Grandma. And it was a very sad time for us because Grandma was very, very anxious to go. Very anxious to go up there and be with, everybody. She also loved Cambridge.
Yeah.
Yeah. Grandma Jenny was looking forward to it. Everybody was looking forward to it. But she got the stroke on September the 14th. I'll never forget it because it was Grandpa John's birthday. And that's what happened. That's my bad memory
Of
of what happened.
Did she die or was she then
No,
sick?
no. I took care of her for 8 years. You
Here in
remember
this
that?
house?
In this house. She was upstairs. First she was right here. I got a hospital bed. And then when Jerry was engaged to be married, I had to bring her upstairs. Because we had to invite the in-laws over.
Did she die here?
Yeah, she died. Both my husband and my mother died in my arms in this house.
Wow.
My husband died right there, and Grandma died in her bedroom.
So this is it would be really hard for you to leave this house, I would think.
Yeah, I think it would be, but if things were feasible, I would do it, but I don't drive, so I don't go anywhere.
Right. Wait, well, so anyways, the cookies.
Oh, as I was saying, so she got the stroke, so after she came around, which took a few weeks before she could speak, took about 6 or 7 weeks, and I said, "Ma," I says, "the cookies, I don't know how to make those cookies." And she says, "Bring the bowl," and she told me all the ingredients to bring, and she taught me how to make them right in the hospital bed. She was on the hospital bed, and I was doing just what she told me to do. Now you do this, now you do that, now you add this, now you add that, until I perfected them now.
So
Everybody
cool.
loves them.
And what are they called?
I call them grandma's cookies, but I guess they're called some sort of saviari, like an Italian cookie.
And did they have almond in them or something?
You could put whatever flavoring you like. You
Okay.
could have
I
anisette,
remember- Yeah,
you could have
anisette. That was it.
almonds, you could have
What's
whatever
the other
flavor.
cookie that you sometimes? I don't know if we used to make it, but people used to buy it. It's almost like a fried dough. It's very thin.
Zeppoli?
Is that it? It comes in like you mound it like you see a whole pile.
Oh, no,
and they have
you're
the powdered
talking about
sugar.
the honey balls.
Oh yeah.
The honey balls. Yeah.
What is that? That's do
That's,
you know how to
it's
make
called
that?
strufoli.
Mm.
That's what it's called, strufoli. And
You
I'll
drip
give
honey
you the
on it.
recipe.
You know how to make that
Oh
also?
yeah, I make that. Yeah. I don't make it for my kids because they're not into sweets.
Right.
But the in-laws used to like them, all their husbands and whatever. And so I make one little batch when I make it for Christmas.
Now,
and you put sprinkles on it
another
and honey.
another question. Did you speak Italian?
Very little, only in response to Grandma.
You understood
And it wasn't really
then?
Italian, it was Sicilian dialect.
So you understood?
Oh yes, I understood very well. I
But
still
you just-
understand.
You don't speak.
I speak
little bit.
Sicilian, yeah,
A little
and
bit.
I have no occasion. There's nobody to talk to. I wish my children had learned, but she also spoke dialect. Now they learn nothing but Italian in Italy. I did go to Italy.
Oh, you did. When did you go?
Oh, it was nice. 99. I went with the church.
Did you go to Sicily?
No, I was supposed to go with your grandmother and aunts,
Oh.
but didn't work out. I wish I would have went with them.
Would have been a blast. So did your husband speak Italian?
My husband was Irish.
Manza?
His father died when he was 10,
And his mother
and
remarried?
his mother was Irish, and she raised them.
Oh, okay. But his
uh,
father was Italian.
Yes, but they had no connection at all with their
Sure.
family. I was friendly with his Italian sister. He had 2 half sisters that were Italian, and I was very close to them.
Mhm.
That's how I met him, through that sister. And they didn't speak Italian. They didn't have any. The grandparents died, and they were Americanized.
So was his mother like right off the boat from Ireland? Or?
No. She was a Jerseyite, actually. She was, and also there's part Indian in their family.
Huh?
Yeah, there's part American Indian. I forgot the name of the Indian. My daughter knows La something.
Well, you know what you could talk about is when my mother's father died.
Oh, that was a very sad time. Very sad time.
Do you want to get the phone? I'll just.
4, right? That's it. Now I put this here. I usually put walnuts in, but a lot of my friends have diverticulitis. I can't eat seeds and nuts, and so I don't put it in no more. Then in that you put a little bit of salt. It's supposed to be like. Oh no, no! I'm gonna kill you.
This is good.
I was so relaxed and
That was great.
oh my god!
We're just gonna get a little. Where are you going? Oh no! Come out. Turn it off. Oh good. Yeah. Put it. You put an apron
Put my
on.
little smock on
So
so you can't
cute.
see me.
We have to. This is a family recipe. This is important. This is what it's all about here.
Yeah, then they'll really laugh. Because I was going to do it jokingly. Now
You have to.
now
No, you have to be joking.
now I
If
have to
that's
be-
you,
now I have to
Lena.
be more precise.
You
All
have to
right,
joke. You
now-
put a little
now I
salt.
have to be doing,
No.
Now we got to put a little salt because I was going to just put it
I'll
in my
just do
hand.
close up on your hands, and you won't be in it. Okay?
Okay.
I'm doing close up on your hands. I
Okay.
zoomed in.
So now we put 4 teaspoons into the 4 cups of flour of baking powder. This is Grandma's recipe perfected. 11 teaspoons of baking powder. 3, 4. How many was that? I forgot already. No, we wouldn't hurt.
And that's baking powder.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't even need to read a recipe. This is you have it by
no,
memory.
this I got down pat. Okay. I was going to make such a nice joke out of it, and now she's got me all
Oh,
serious.
do you want me to turn it off?
Got me all serious.
You don't have to be serious.
Let
This
me
isn't.
show you how I make
I'm only
these.
focused on your hands, so you can say whatever you want. We don't even see you talking.
Now, this is the way I measure the 1 cup of Crisco.
Oh, you don't even measure it. You just use a spoon.
See, I make 1 cup. So I don't have to dirty a cup. That's my little trick.
Oh.
Okay? Now that's that. Now we get 1 cup of sugar.
So that's vegetable
Put that,
shortening.
this is vegetable shortening. Crisco usually. And we get, what did I say next? Sugar, right? Sugar. Where are you, sugar? Here.
Okay.
And we put 1 cup of sugar in the shortening. Where was the less? Because I think it's going to make it less, but
About how much does this make? This.
4 pans.
Oh wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, it's got a lot. Now you beat that around a little bit.
And sort of combine them together.
Until it's a little like on the fluffy side. Integrated. Like that. And then you get 4 eggs.
4 eggs?
4 eggs.
Wow.
I'm using 4 so you don't really forget. See? Doesn't that make it easy?
It does.
Just like my manicotti, when you make the crepes for the manicotti,
Mm-hmm.
it's 2:11. 2 eggs, 1 cup of flour, 1 cup of water. And that's how you make the crepe.
Oh.
See?
So, oh, that's another one of your specialties?
Oh yeah, they like that one. And I beat this in, I beat them one at a time to make it nice and smooth.
So you base it, a manicotti, isn't that like a noodle?
No, it's
Or a crepe?
crepe.
So it's It's not
And then you
cannelloni?
roll it. You know, you put the ricotta, mozzarella on the side, and the cheese and pasta, whatever you like. See how you integrate this? And then it's the crepes you can make a day before. You could just do everything ahead of time with the crepes. They're very easy to keep.
Well, I'm going to have to get that recipe too.
I usually break them into a cup to make sure the eggs are good. But because you're filming me, I'm doing everything wrong.
So you break them into a cup and
Well,
then beat
you gotta
them?
make sure the eggs are good.
Oh.
See, it's nice and smooth. And another one.
And so you never use a beater. Could you use a hand beater if you wanted, or it's not,
Yeah,
you don't need
use
to?
a hand beater. I just don't use it because I don't like to dirty all that equipment. I don't like to dirty a spoon and a cup and a bowl. So that's what you got to make sure it's nice and smooth.
Yeah.
And then you put the last one in. Now usually this mixture is just pliable enough that it's not too sticky. But if I put a little too much or the eggs are a little too big, I have to add a little flour. But usually you never add more flour because the more flour you add, the harder the cookie becomes.
Okay.
And I don't like hard. These particular cookies, they get hard eventually as you.
You put a frosting on these, right?
Yeah. There we are. See, nice and smooth.
That's nice.
Now I add the vanilla. Tablespoon of vanilla.
Very, very precise.
Yeah. Because a little more don't hurt. Now this, if you wanted to, like I said, you could use a beater for this. And then you could use a beater for the first 2 cups too. First 2 cups. You could do a little beater if you wanted.
To make, now you're making the dough.
Now it becomes a dough. Now, like I said, if I added too much Crisco or too much big eggs, it might be a little too sticky. And I'd have to add a little more flour. But I usually don't add more flour. I usually keep it in the refrigerator until the Crisco hardens it again. So you can roll it. And I have a feeling good exercise for the fat on the arms.
Ooh. Potato.
Okay?
Oh, I see. So now it's going to make a nice dough.
Pliable dough. That'll be pliable. Now at this point is when I usually use my hands. And also I'll add a cup of chopped walnuts. Sometimes to half the batter, because a lot of people don't like nuts.
Did Grandma used to do that?
No.
She didn't put the walnuts.
I happen to like nuts, and they give it a nice flavor. At this point I use my hands. I think it may be just right.
Of course. You know what you're doing here.
See how it's
Yeah.
getting together? Yeah, it's perfect. You could also, if you wanted to, add a little lemon into this too.
Oh,
Lemon
I think I
flavor.
remember that.
Yeah, if you want to. I don't always do that.
But you said sometimes
But
you put
I put the lemon ice
or
or anisette which I don't eat do either because I like them plain. But a lot of people like them different ways. I like them with the lemon iced tea. Okay, ready to roll. Ready to roll and cook. You could take some home to, well, what's her name?
Rachel.
Rachel, I thought it was Rachel. Popular name of the day.
Should we put the oven on?
Oh yeah, 350.
Okay.
I'll get the cookie platters out.
Oven? Oh, that's a light. Oh well.
Now, here's the trick of the rolling.
I'm
Take
zooming in.
this and you go like this. See how
You
easy
make
it
a
is?
little S.
Make a little S. Take a little dab of dough and make a little S.
Okay, let me see. I'm gonna watch one more time here. Okay.
You usually put 4 across. People find it very hard to do this, and I don't understand it. You want
To
to
make
try?
the S?
Yeah, you want to try?
Yeah,
it?
let me watch.